Hello, I'm Tom Surgey, and this is the summer sipping series with WineAlive. I'm here, and I've got the very brilliant Oz Clarke.
I'm Oz Clarke, also trying to pronounce summer sipping series as well as Tom did.
Yeah.
Too many S's in my mind.
At least we're doing it before the summer wines. That's what we're doing here. Here we go. Right, Oz, we're on. Here we go. So,
Summer sipping series. Who invented the name summer sipping series?
Exactly.
When I was at the Old Vic as an actor.
Were you? Tell me about
We
this.
had to sing.
Soave while we do.
That? I had to do a song, and I'll do it for you because I know that you're an intelligent person longing to hear my baritone voice. She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. And if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore. I didn't get it.
Can you believe this is the first of the day?
Second to last S, and you instead of a shush, you got an S.
I love it.
You think I'm going to get better with that?
You're going to get far better with this. This is what we need. This is it.
And
so
this is
summer wines.
Summer sipping series of Soave. Too many S's.
Look, I'm keen on the S's. We're happy with this. With Surgey, Soave with Surgey in the summertime. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about 3 amazing whites that are perfect for summertime. Summertime drinking? What does that really mean? I drink everything in the summer, really.
Oh, when that sun comes out, I do long for relatively low alcohol, very, very bright white wines. They don't have to be terribly fruity. They don't have to be terribly acid, but they do need to be bright. And I think Soave, Soave. There was a time when Soave was just about the most popular white wine in England, entirely because it came in very big bottles, screw top before its time, and they were cheap as dirt, and they were absolutely terrible. That was then.
That's it.
The modern Soave shows that actually it's one of northern Italy's most delicious white wines. Suave, Soave, that's about right. It's soft. It's not bursting with sort of crackling flavours like a Sauvignon Blanc is. There's another S, Sauvignon Blanc. It's mellow.
It is. It's got this elegance. It's got this, as you say, mellow softness to it as a style. Soave's got a distinct vibe about it, as you say. So coming into wine in the last couple of decades, I think I arrived at a point where people sort of said, wow, there was a vision of who was drinking Soave, and it was a little bit sort of low-key, ladies at lunch. It was kind of undermined a little bit, and not that I think ladies at lunch necessarily require undermining. I aspire to be one, Oz. That's basically the vibe.
Well, honestly, with a shirt like that, I'm not surprised.
I'm doing all right with it.
I've suddenly realised, do you know, what are those flowers?
These are, look, come on, you've tested me. What are we saying? I don't know.
I think they're mostly
I've got
poppies.
No idea.
But my feeling is, I am your pollinator. And it's
been
not
said before.
Something I wanted to say in public. But
Can I have that as a quote for the next book? Is that all right? I am your pollinator, Oz Clarke.
I am covered in pollinators.
You are.
And you are covered in flowers needing pollinating.
I love it. I love it.
I'm glad I chose my shirt so carefully. And what were we talking about? We were talking about Soave, weren't we?
So with the Soave, exactly, it's of its place and it's got a distinct vibe and a character. I actually drove past here. I drove past the beautiful hill of Soave at about 1:30 in the morning last week as my EasyJet flight. Right? I was
Where was it supposed to be going?
I was in Venice. I'd been in Friuli.
Your flight was going from Vienna.
I was on the last flight out of Venice, and it was at 11 p.m. and EasyJet was suddenly cancelled it, and the only option was drive across, all the way across beautiful Veneto, into Verona, and as you go past, you see the beautiful hill of Soave. And so cascading down with light and uplit castles and beautiful churches. It's a stunning, stunning area. And
this was at 1:30 in the morning, I remember.
Yes, exactly. And we
tremendous eyesight, this boy.
Arrived in this little trattoria, for which we stayed in for 3 hours before the first flight out in the morning out of Verona. But what I love about this area and what I love about Soave is they are wines of place. There's Garganega, beautiful indigenous grape. It's got peaches and stone fruits and electric oyster shell minerality. It's glorious.
It's quite exciting.
I am very excited.
Yeah, and there's not only I call it Garganega, by the way.
You do call it Garganega.
You call it Garganega, but then I say potatoes.
It's a thing. And they both sound like sort of, bad guys from 1980s cartoons. The Ghostbusters had a Garganega.
You're Garganega,
That's the bad guy out of Smurfs, isn't it? I think
Garganega. Anyway, that's the main grape. And going back to the sense of place for Soave, those hills are fantastically important because the cheap Soave of the old days was from vast, great industrial vineyards, all spread along the complete flatlands of the Adige River. But as you drive up that road, which you saw so well at 1:30 in the morning, you've got hills rising directly out of the plain. And as soon as you get onto those hills, you're in Soave Classico. And this wine here says on the label, Soave Classico.
Classico.
Look at that label, Calvalmarmo Soave Classico. I mean, that is actually crucially important, because as soon as you go into the Classico area, you go into the area where they've been making delicious wines for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's fun. It's the same with Valpolicella, by the way, which is, of course, Verona's red wine, and this is Verona's white wine. That as soon as you see Classico on the label, you're in the proper hillside vineyards, not on the enormous expanses of industrial flatland.
Which
Classico
goes so strongly for so many regions, doesn't it, within Italy?
It does.
That Classico, the original zone.
And it's nearly always go up into the hills.
100%.
Because in the old days, people didn't plant vines on the flatland. They put stuff to eat on the flatland. You went into the hills, A, because they knew it was better up there, B, because you couldn't grow anything else. And this has also got another grape called Trebbiano, but not... Trebbiano is one of those grapes that, Trebbiano's the workhorse grape of Italy. Well, not this Trebbiano, because this is a Trebbiano called Trebbiano di Soave, which actually, for those of you who like Italian wines, is actually the Verdicchio grape. And that's another of the great grapes of Italy. So this means this wine here has got the Garganega, which is a fantastic grape, the Verdicchio, which is a really winey grape, and then it's got a splash, goodness knows why, of Chardonnay in it. Yeah. I mean, but why would you put Chardonnay? Why would you put Chardonnay?
Just giving it a bit of structure, isn't it? Giving a bit of backbone.
It doesn't need any more structure and backbone. Whoops, just while I spill it down my shirt, that'll pollinate my shirt nicely.
It's ideal. I think it's a great example of a summer white. It's fresh, it's easy drinking. I love Soave, and I think it needs to be in the modern wine lexicon. It's got to be right in front of everybody.
It's got lots of flavour, hasn't it?
Oh, it's delicious.
And it's not like those drab old things in the old days. No. That's really fresh. It's got really winey feel about it. It's actually got a little more acidity than I expected.
Oh, 100%.
And by the way, there's a piece of grass down there, which I'm spitting. I'm using it as
We're both spitting, aren't we? This is it. We've both suddenly realised we're going to need to spit.
Bit of grass in this garden. But
now, talking of Trebbiano, Arinto, let me pour you some of this. Much like Trebbiano, like all great indigenous grape variety filled regions of Europe, you have grapes like Trebbiano that under the same name in different locations are completely different grapes, you know? These grapes that grew up in the region they came from, often sometimes called different things when they're the same grape, just to add to the confusion and complexity.
So this Arinto grows all over Portugal?
It's everywhere.
Okay then, Tom. What is it called in Vinho Verde?
I knew you were going to do this. Come on. Well, I think in Vinho Verde we call it Arinto.
You don't. You call it Pedavana. That's one small tip in my favour.
Honestly, we're on YouTube.
The lovely thing the thing about Arinto, shall I go on about Arinto or would you like to?
You tell me about Arinto.
I'll tell you about Arinto, because he's slightly lost his...
Honestly.
You've lost your direction.
I have.
The thing about Arinto is it's incredibly adaptable, so it can grow in the very cool, wet north, or it can grow in the absolutely boiling wheatlands of the Alentejo. It's drought resistant. It's drought resistant, and that in the really hot areas of Portugal and the whole of the Mediterranean basin is going to become more and more important with climate change. And it's extremely able to hold on to acid even in hot conditions.
That's what it's doing here.
Yeah.
So the Arinto is giving structure, it's giving freshness, it's giving that bright, mouth-watering acidity. This comes from Alentejo. So it's a producer, Herdade de Mouchao. Here we go. And it's the Rafael. This is their white, Dom Rafael. And it's mainly Arinto, as Oz keeps telling us all about. That's the electricity, that's the freshness. But it's also got Antau Vaz, which is another indigenous grape from Alentejo.
Same old thing, also drought resistant.
There you go.
Also adaptable. Also can cope with the extra heat.
And its richness. Antau Vaz is about vibrancy, richness, roundness, texture. And this is classic Alentejo white wine in that you get this push-pull of fresh Arinto character and rich Antau Vaz. It's aged in stainless steel. It's quite a modern wine for actually a very traditional winery. Mouchao is one of the originals. It's been around since the 1800s in the region, and they were the first people actually to plant the red grape, Alicante Boucher,
of course.
which again was planted because post-phylloxera they felt, really hot, really arid area, it would work well.
And it was, who planted it?
There you go.
The Reynolds family. Good old Brits.
As you notice, a British family. So a lot, like a lot of regions of Portugal, the Brits were involved, weren't they? This is it. 6 generations of them now. And it's a lovely wine. It's a really great.
What I love about it, and Portugal is fantastic for this. Portugal is bursting with great varieties that no one else has. And frankly, as Tom has proved, no one else can remember the names of or indeed pronounce them.
Unbelievable.
But this one here...
I got the Vaj in there, didn't I?
Well, sort of. We haven't yet checked out how to pronounce that, or what the other name... What does Antalvaj... It probably doesn't grow in Vineyard Verde, does it?
It doesn't grow in Vineyard Verde. It's exclusively pretty much in Alentejo. Yeah. There's a bit going down into Algarve as well.
Yeah. It actually does come from Alentejo.
This region, it does. It's the indigenous there. This region is one of the most affected by climate change in the world, so it's getting hotter and hotter.
Yeah.
Oz was down there in the 90s. It was blooming hot then, and it's getting warmer now. So people are planting up into the hills, and I think that's what's happening here. Because it's a deceptively fresh wine for a very warm, lovely southern Portuguese region.
The thing about Mouchao, this is this wonderful ancient place. They didn't get electricity till 1991. 1991 before they got electricity. And you go in there and it's all painted white, everything. So it's boiling outside. You go into these wonderful buildings and it just seems amazingly cool. And for the red wines they make, they've still got these old stone lagars, they call them, which you get in there and they still get in there and tread the grapes by their feet. Not with the whites.
Not with the whites, no feet required. Now look, I think the thing with this is, food pairing wise, it's perfect for summer, right? Grilled fish, anything nice and light, anything that's elegant. I think if you got yourself some turbot kicking about the place, that's the big name fish on campus, but some nice plaice, some hake, anything like that, it would be beautiful. Just some lovely potatoes, bit of butter, bit of samphire, that sort of situation. Dreamy.
Because it is one thing which really marks out most Portuguese whites, particularly from warmer areas. Nice mouthfeel. They're quite full in the mouth.
Yeah.
The lovely thing about this Arinto is it keeps that acidity zinging along.
Exactly.
So it makes it tremendously adaptable with food.
I couldn't agree more.
Turbot. You have turbot at home.
I'm a turbot boy.
I have
things. Things are going all right.
Totally. Well, obviously your fees are better than mine at the moment.
I don't know. It's
because I eat bassa.
You're a bassa man.
Bassa and tilapia and collie and things like that.
I like a collie. Don't get me wrong. It's
I could eat about 1 kilogram of those for about 2 ounces of your turbot.
Is that you absolutely could? I don't have that much turbot. I think I've overstated my turbot. Now, right. Talking of which, we're going to your heartland, Oz. We're going to a place where I think, when I think Oz Clarke, one of the key things I think is New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc.
What else do you think?
I think pollinator extraordinaire, as we've talked about.
Most unfair. What else? Say something nice about me.
I can't. We can't be doing that. We're not meant to be nice to each other, are we? That's the thing.
Well, I've tried to be nice to you. I say you got a lovely shirt. I said, and how much further can the chap go?
You've been very kind.
And I get a hug.
You are
honestly. And
now.
Also, I don't know how you do your hair, but let me know.
Talk to me about fruit. This is what I want to hear. Come on, this is what I want to hear.
All I can say is, for a glass of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, you haven't put very much in my glass.
That is true. That's true. Management asked me to sort of cut you off.
Wow.
That was the thing. So, what have we got here? We've got Yealands.
Colour and tons of smell. Greenness.
It's classic. It's quintessential, isn't it?
The thing about Yealands as a brand, that Yealands Sauvignon Blanc, and this is the reserve, they're just about the most reliably crisp, excitingly crackly Sauvignon Blanc on the market. And one of the reasons is it comes from one of the coldest bits of Marlborough. Marlborough is a cool area, and there's one bit which is even colder.
Our tree. That's where we are.
Isn't it?
So we're in our tree.
There?
Do you know what? I have been down to our tree. And I think it's one of those key distinctions, isn't it? And learning more about Marlborough, having valleys, understanding the kind of unique character that each of those valleys gives you. And this is quintessential our tree. It is vibrant, isn't it?
You can really, it's like the pith and the zest scraped off a lemon or a lime, thrown straight into the glass. something like English Bramley apples, not pink ladies and jazzes and all those things, but Bramley apples.
It's not.
So straight into the glass.
It is. There's a bright. You've gone scrumping. You've climbed up a tree. You've bitten into it. There's a crunch to it, isn't there? There's freshness. Yeah. It's a lovely thing. And Yealands, enormous sustainability. Natalie is she's doing a great job, isn't she? You know, she's all over it.
She's a wonderful winemaker. She has got a degree in music. She plays the double bass, and you don't mess with female winemakers who play the double bass. And she actually plays music to some of her wines. I'm not quite sure what she played.
Exactly.
It's not
something
Vivaldi's
quite tense, isn't it? There's something really quite tense. There's something sort of, you're sort of charging at something. But it's delicious.
The arbitrary thing, talking of Marlborough, because the reason Sauvignon Blanc works so well in Marlborough is that it's quite cool, and Sauvignon Blanc is a green grape. It needs freshness in the air. Make it too hot and it goes flat. But in South Island, New Zealand, it's in a rain shadow. You don't get any rain there, but it's very far south, and therefore it's quite cool. The Arwatry area is a wonderful area just past the main Marlborough bit. You go over a mountain pass and you come down and you see this valley stretching out, heading sort of down towards the south. And the south is where Antarctic is. Literally. The south is where the southern busters burst up, and you get much more wind, you get much more fog, you get much more sea fret. And the Seaview vineyard, which is the main vineyard in Yealands, is the closest vineyard to the sea in all of New Zealand. It's absolutely as close as the edge of that table.
I think you were yelling Southern Buster at me out of the train window this morning, weren't you? Is that what you were shouting? I couldn't quite catch it.
It wasn't to you, but I'm glad you thought it was.
Something along those lines. Yeah. What I love about this is these are such wines of place. So we've had elegant Soave with lovely stone fruit and minerality. We've had incredible Mouchao, rich, tense, push-pull style Portuguese wine. And now we've got wines that couldn't be from anywhere else. There's that electric fruit, super tense acidity. And I think Sauvignon Blanc has become so ubiquitous, and New Zealand has done such a great job of showcasing Sauvignon Blanc and rewriting history since the 80s, since you kind of put it on the map. There's something nice. You genuinely did. It was your thing, Oz. But I think what I love about this is if you think you know Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, there's always more to explore, and there's always more depth to be found, and summer's the time to do it. This with fresh salads. I mean, give me a chicken Caesar salad with this any day.
And don't let people tell you, Sauvignon Blanc's a bit old hat. No, it's not. It's still, despite all the people who've come up and challenged it and tried to take away its crown, it is still a supreme summer white.
Come on. Let's go find ourselves some tilapia. Let's do it.
And some bassa.
Cheers. Cheers.
This is just one of our WineAlive summer sipping series videos with me, Oz Clarke, and with my mate, Tom Surgey. If you'd like to know more about the wines we've tasted, head over to our blog at wine-alive.com and check out our other videos. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and we hope you sip splendidly this summer.